Welcome to Lubera Edibles, the specialist young plant nursery for edible innovations. We are producing the best young plants in fruits, berries and vegetables. And since some years we are also producing young plants, plucked plants of rhubarbs. A special English product, I know. And you know, it's very nice to have these small young plants, which are not big rhizomes, big roots, but only small 4 centimeter young plants you can use by potting, and which are much more easy to pot than big roots. What are the differences between a young plant or a plant which was produced out of a big root, rhizome, or out of a plucked plant? You see the differences. This is the root system of a plant which was produced about 7 months before, in June, July, out of a rhizome of roots, rhubarb roots, and this plant here was produced out of a plucked plant, micro-propagated plucked plant. You see the differences very clearly. Here, the crown with all these new shoots is very strong, even stronger than here in the rhizome plant. And here on the micro-propagated plant, the roots are very strong. Many roots and not too many roots, fleshy roots. And here you only see the rhizome and some new big roots which have been produced. This plant was well rooted, so a 5 liter pot full of roots. This plant also in a 5 liter pot was not well rooted, so the root system was not stable. So big advantages for a micro-propagated young plant. What are the reasons? When you are potting a small 4 centimeter plucked plant, the plant has everything it needs, but it has no strong root system. It has not these big rhizomes at this plant. So the plant wants to grow. And first it will produce as many shoots as possible, and then it will produce as many roots as possible, and then with the strength out of the roots it produces more stems, and with the strength out of the assimilation it produces more roots. And only after 1 or 2 years it's producing a big rhizome, like in this 2-year-old plant you see here. This is a 2-year-old plant in a 5 liter container produced out of a micro-propagated young plant, and here now you see that the rhizome has developed much better, much bigger than in the younger plant. So it's much easier to produce rhubarb plants, well-rooted rhubarb plants in 2 to 5 liter containers out of plucked plants. But there are also differences in the production. The first and most important difference is that the development of such a plant, of a plant based on a plucked plant, is much faster than a rhizome plant. So it will develop like crazy. It will explode, and so it's very important that you put the pots in distance. For example, in a distance where every plant is missed, so the plant has more space to develop. And when you are potting rhizomes, the production and the development of the plant is much slower, so it's not necessary to space the plant. Here with a plucked plant, even the pluck is much smaller than the rhizome you're potting, the plucked plant is developing much faster, so you need some space. Second very important difference, when you are selling the 5 liter or 4 liter or 3 liter pot after 1 year in production, so for example you have potted in spring or you have potted in June, July, and then you want to sell in March, April, May of the next year, you have to fertilize a pluck propagated 5 liter pot, because these roots need something to eat. So there is not so much reserve like in a rhizome, so these roots of a micro-propagated young plants need something to eat, so they need fertilizer. So you have to put some new fertilizer into the pots before you are planting and selling the plant in a 5 or 4 liter pots. So many advantages if you use really pluck-produced rhubarb plants out of micro-propagation, but also some differences you have to learn for the production of the plants in 2 and 5 liter pots. Go on producing rhubarb plants with micro-propagated Lubera young plants. one more thing. If you are interested in more information about our edible innovations, then you can subscribe here to our YouTube channel, and here you can go to our website. Go on gardening!